So this is chapter 7 now. We're going to be talking about valuing bonds, right? Bonds. What is a bond? Well, bond is debt. First of all, is debt issued by a corporation, right? When corporations become large enough, they're going to be issuing bonds, right? Which is a form of debt, right? And it's a less expensive way in which large corporations can find money as opposed to bank loans or other type of instruments, right? If you're big enough and with enough reputation to carry out, to issue bonds by yourself, well, uh, you should do it, right? Because it's cheaper. For example, Walmart can issue bonds, right? Walmart is a large corporation. Walmart knows, I mean, people know Walmart, and Walmart can have some sort of certainty about their future income, right? Walmart, chances are that it's going to have money in the future. So Walmart can issue bonds. As opposed to me, I would love to issue bonds, but I can't, right? I'm not a corporation. There is not a lot of certainty about how much money am I going to be able to pay in the future. Therefore, the option for me is go to the bank and get a loan. Walmart will not do that, right? Now, this is called fixed. These type of securities are called fixed income because you will be receiving the same amount of money every so often, right? Most of them it's every 6 months. So every 6 months you will be receiving the same amount of money. And then at the end of the period, at the end of 30 years or for as long as your bond is outstanding, you will also receive the principal, right? So you're receiving money every 6 months, and then you receive some sort of compensation at the end. So all of the rules of the game for a bond are in what we call the indenture agreement, right? Um, what we're gonna know is maturity date. When is the bond gonna be paid, right? Well, that is goes hand in hand with time to maturity, right? It's gonna be paid in 40 years, right? Well, when it's 40 years, well, it's 2056, right? Or whenever it is, 40 years. Date is gonna be the month, day, year. Time is how many years or how many months, right? Now, par value, it's gonna be most of the times $1,000, right? That's the value of the bond. Now, we should not mix this with market value. Market value is different than par value. Par value is the amount of money you're going to be receiving by expiration. Market value, on the other hand, could be more than that, could be less than that. We will address that shortly. Uh, if the bond is callable, and we're going to talk about that in the second part of this chapter, it's going to be in the indenture agreement and also the coupon rate. How much are you going to be receiving every 6 months? So who issues bonds? Well, the Treasury, corporations, municipalities, right? The U.S. Treasury those are federal government bonds. Those are, we will call them risk-free. We've mentioned this before, but I'm going to mention it again. They are quote-unquote risk-free because the Treasury has the ability to print more money. The Treasury has the money. Therefore, you will see your money back. That is as opposed to municipalities, right? Local governments, local and state governments cannot print their own money, right? Um, Local and state governments can go bankrupt. You've probably heard of Detroit. Detroit went bankrupt. So it's an example of a municipality. Now we also have corporations. Well, all the large businesses, they also issue bonds. Now we can have three main types of bonds. Those are sold at a premium, discount, or par, which I don't have here in the PowerPoint. But premium, you pay more money today than face value. Um, a real life example. Let's think you have tickets. Let's assume you have tickets for the next Super Bowl. And let's say that the ticket has a face value of $100. So if you look at the ticket, the price that is printed there is $100. Now, does that mean that you're going to go and sell that ticket for $100? Well, chances are that you're going to sell that ticket for more than $100. Chances are that you might be able to sell it for $400, $500, $600, right? So that is a premium bond. Same story. you're going to be paying more than $1,000 to hold that bond. Now, you might not pay two, three, $4,000. You might pay a little bit more, right? But there's a lot of variables that will influence that. One of them, very important, is risk. If you are seen as having very low risk and you're paying attractive returns, people will pay a lot of money to buy your bond. Now, we also have discount bonds. Prices are lower than face value, right? Prices are lower than par. Um, Going back to the tickets, let's suppose you have um, tickets to go and see. I don't like to pick on the Titans, but let's suppose you have tickets for the 2015 Tennessee Titans season, right? Um, and towards the end, they were having a very bad record, right? And you have tickets that were worth $100. Now, do you think you will be able to sell it for $100? Probably not. Probably you might have to sell it for less than that if you want to sell them. People will not pay that. It's the same. Those are discount bonds, right? People will pay less than $1,000 in order to hold those bonds. Par, that's almost never happened. Face value, it's equal to current price. Um, so in order for us to know the value of a bond, we will use time value of money, right? Time value of money. So the present value, it's the price of the bond. Price, sometimes it's referred to as value, is the present value of all the cash flow. Now there's a special type of bond. This is called a zero coupon bond, and it pays no interest, and and it pays you the par value at maturity, right? So in other words, you're gonna buy something today that it's gonna pay you $1,000 in 20 years. We know that interest rates are 6%. This is the market rate. This is the rate based on what we discussed in chapter 6, right? Real risk-free rate, inflation, the default, liquidity, all those things are included in that 6%. So we want to know how much are we going to pay today in order to receive $1,000 in 20 years. Now, first thing you need to know, zero coupon bonds are always discount bonds. Zero coupon bonds are always discount bonds. You're always going to pay less than $1,000 in order to receive $1,000 in 20 years. If you pay more than $1,000 today to receive $1,000 in 20 years, that is a scam. Don't do it, right? So that's basically the timeline. We have our periods here. We receive $1,000. We have a rate of 6%. So some of the assumptions, we're going to find the present value. Sometimes, and you need to be careful with this, we will assume semi-annual interest payments. Now, if you remember par value or face value, it's $1,000. That's pretty solid. Unless you see something otherwise, we will assume $1,000. For the frequency of the payment, I would say that semi-annual is also pretty solid, right? Unless we see otherwise, but just play it safe and assume semi-annual compounding, right? So 20 years, it's 40 payments, right? 20 years, we receive money twice a year, it's 40 payments. Interest rate was 6% per year. We divided by 2, and we have a 3% interest rate. And I lost my calculator. Oh, it's right here. So if we go back to our calculator, we clear time value of money. We know that N is 40. 3 is our interest rate. 0 is payment, right? It's a zero coupon bond. 1,000 is future value, and the price today is 306.5568. 306.56, right? That is consistent with what we have. Now, the present value of the bond. The price of the bond today, it's equal to the present value of all of the payments we're receiving, plus the present value of the $1,000 we'll receive at expiration, right? That's why this formula is divided in two parts, two terms. This plus sign divides the two terms. The last term is the present value of $1,000. This is the present value of our payment. We can do it with the calculator. And I copied this problem from the book 722. Let's work on this problem and try to find present value. And say, compute the price of a 5.6% coupon bond with 10 years left to maturity and a market interest rate of 7%. Some interests are semi-annual. Is this a discount or a premium bond? Now, what are we going to have for N? What are we going to have for N? Well, 10 years times 2 payments per year, right? So it's going to be 20. 20 payments in total. The interest rate. Now, we have two rates in here, right? 5.6% coupon, 7% market rate. Market interest rate, discount rate is always going to be I over Y. The key word is coupon, right? I'm going to underline it. Coupon is a key. Every time you see coupon, that is used to calculate payment, right? So interest rate is 7% divided by 2, which is 3.5, right? 3.5 is 7% divided by 2. PV we don't know. We know future value is 1,000. How much are we receiving every 6 months? Well, I'm going to pull out the calculator. We know that is 5.6% coupon. Now, this is one thing I don't remember if I was clear on this. If I wasn't, I'm reiterating right now. Coupon is always based on face value. This means that you're going to be receiving 5.6% of face value every year, half of it every 6 months. That's why we call these instruments fixed income instruments. You're always going to be receiving the same amount of money, since we're always going to have the same coupon rate and always going to have the same face value. So 0.056 times 1,000. We're going to be receiving $56 every year. We divide it by 2 and we're going to be receiving $28 every 6 months, right? So this is 28, right? Now we have all of our information here. Let's go to our calculator and find this out, right? 23.5, 28, and 1,000. So the price is $900.51, right? Payment is positive, future value is positive. Those two are always positive. If you buy the bond, you will receive coupon and you will receive your principal at expiration. Right? Present value, on the other hand, is always going to be negative. So you're going to have to pay $900.51 in order to receive $28 every 6 months, and then you're going to